Welcome to BizJet TV. My name is Fabrizio.Poli. I'm your aviation advisor, and today we're going to be talking about the 5 trends that have been caused by the lockdown. And of course, one of these trends is, the increase in private aviation and private jet flights, which we're already starting to see now. But the other 4 trends link nicely into it, and it gives us a bit of an idea of what's happening in the world and what's ahead, which can help us to plan for our business trips and business ventures and whatnot. But if you haven't subscribed to BizJet TV, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel, all about business aviation and lots of other things related to things that fly, as that's what we like to talk about here on BizJet TV. We're here to educate you about how business aviation and aeroplanes and anything that flies can actually help you grow your business. Very valuable business tool. Give us a thumbs up at the end of the video as well, and we love to hear your comments and suggestions and that. So please, let's get some commentary going down below. But that's enough from me now on this intro. Let's get straight into the 5 trends and off we go. So let's look at these 5 trends which are emerging as a result of lockdown. Now, the first one is the airline industry. Airline industry was hit big time. We're seeing just recent news that Delta Airlines have laid off 1,900 pilots to add to all the other thousands that have lost jobs for airlines like Emirates, Virgin Atlantic, EasyJet, Jet2. All these airlines have laid pilots off, and there will be more in the next few months that will be laying pilots off. Now, the airlines are doing this because as normal travel starts to resume, the airlines obviously are realizing that the load factors on these airplanes are not what they used to be, so they're scrapping some routes, they're reducing the frequency on other routes, and so they don't need as many pilots and ground crew and flight attendants and all that kind of thing. So we're seeing that, and so people are coming back to traveling by air, but not as often. Disruptions in airports, long lines. I've said more than once about Manchester Airport in the UK, getting from the car park to the gate took 5 hours. So as a result of this, people are looking at traveling by private jet with the smaller jets. And if you haven't checked my video on that, I did recently, you can click on the link above. So we're seeing less people travel by air, also because trend number 2, which is Zoom calls, Zoom calls and video conferencing, being able to work digitally and have digital meetings. This is something that a lot of people have discovered this year. Now that some people were doing this before, like myself, I was always using this medium. I find it very, very effective. But there are other people on big companies, having their people work from home and having these virtual Zoom meetings. And they suddenly, their big office building in Manhattan is empty, and they start to think, well, this thing is costing us so much money a year. Maybe we can just, do away with that and have maybe a smaller office and let people continue to work remotely. A lot of people, in the beginning had difficulty adjusting to working from home, but then they found the right formula and it's working for a lot of people. And I think people are enjoying this, and people are starting to think, well, why do I have to live in New York? With the cost of living in a city, I can move out of maybe the other side of the country into rural Idaho, for example, where I have more space. And if suddenly there is a lockdown, I'm not shutting my apartment, but I've got my 3 or 4 acres of land around my house, so you can play outside and do your stuff outside, even if there is another lockdown. So people are starting to realize this, and so this is a trend, and so there's going to be a lot of office buildings vacant. Unfortunately, a lot of retail businesses have failed or will fail as a result of more people going online. I always tell the story of the little old lady down the road that has discovered that she can shop for her groceries online and have them delivered to the house. How convenient is that? And so we've seen all these older people, with the granddaughter giving the grandma an iPad and say, "Grandma, you can do your shopping on the iPad. Look how easy it is." And this is a discovery that this type of demographic has had during lockdown, and I don't think they're going to go back to doing things they were doing before. So lots of new things have been discovered by people. The other thing is automation. People are thinking, well, how can I make my business virus proof or lockdown proof? well, I need to try and eliminate as many humans in the process as possible. So, if you've got a warehouse, you want to use robots maybe to put stuff in boxes, and then you want to use drones to deliver. I mean, in the United States, and this happened before the lockdown, Domino's Pizza started to deliver pizzas with drones. And we already knew this was coming with drone delivery and that. And I think this whole situation of lockdown is basically accelerating this whole drone thing, and automation and robotics and that. So that's definitely something that's going to be on the upwards trend. A lot of restaurants now are reopening, but a lot of them are going to struggle to survive because of all the restrictions. You have to wear a mask and you have to social distance, etc., etc. And so people are saying, I don't want to have to go out to a restaurant with all that stress. I'd much prefer to eat at home. So another business is chefs that can cook at their own home and then deliver to your house, or maybe stick the food on a drone and then let the drone deliver to your house. This is another trend which I see as a result of the lockdown. And then the other thing, which is interesting, US billionaires have actually increased their fortunes by 434 billion, yes, billion with a B, during lockdown. So the wealthy have got wealthier. We've seen, stock of companies like Amazon go from $1,700 to over $3,000. Apple stock has gone up close to $500. I think it's Tesla as well is going up. So there's a number of companies that the value has gone up during lockdown. People have made money. We've also seen another thing. We've got Warren Buffett has decided to increase the NetJets fleet by 30%. Bill Gates has invested in private aviation too by increasing his stake up to 350 million in Signature Aviation Support, which is a chain of FBOs. So they're predicting that there's going to be more people travel by private jet. And why is this happening? This is happening because people are still going to travel. They're going to travel less, but when they do travel or they have their executives travel, what they can do is put 6 to 8 people on a private jet, and then off they go and visit 2 different cities and have 2 sets of meetings in one day and then back in the evening. All from a private jet terminal. It takes 15 minutes to get on the airplane. And so during lockdown, what's happened? More and more people actually have been watching BizJet TV. I've been getting calls from people inquiring and suddenly discovering that a private aircraft is a business tool that also keeps them safe from viruses, or safer from viruses. So these are the trends that are happening. So I think private aviation is certainly going to benefit out of this. We are starting to see more movement on the smaller jets, as I said before, and we are going to see movement on the larger jets as soon as lockdown or quarantine restrictions are removed. Right now there's still a ban traveling from the UK to the US, and then there's quarantine measures in places like Hong Kong and Singapore where you have to go into quarantine for 2 weeks. So people are a bit reluctant to launching out with their private jet out of London to going to Singapore, because when they get there they have to spend 2 weeks in quarantine, so they're not doing the flight. So lots of friends of mine that fly the larger private jets actually sitting at home waiting for these restrictions to be lifted, and the boss has been talking to them about, we need to go to Australia, we need to go here, we need to go there, but we have to wait, and can you please monitor the situation and let me know as soon as the quarantine measures have been removed. So these are all the things that are happening right now. So I hope that this information has helped you, and if you are interested in knowing more about private aviation, you can click on around here on BizJet TV. There's lots of information here. Our purpose is to educate you about the private jet and make you realize the private jet is a business tool. It's a peak performance tool, as I like to tell people. That's what it really does. It does improve your performance. And now with companies not traveling as much, what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to travel, but you want to be able to travel safely and get in and out quickly. And the private jet is really the way to go. So if you haven't subscribed to BizJet TV, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. Comment below, give us a thumbs up, and check these other videos that we have here about private jets. This one about the smaller jets, and then this one about the Global 7500, which is an interesting large jet which you may want to look into. And that's all from Fabrizio.poli on BizJet TV, and I'll see you on the next one.